All right, welcome. This is Bitcoin Design Guide Jam Session number 27. We don't have a whole lot of people on here today because I think people are traveling and on holiday and all kind of stuff right now. So we're just gonna kind of do some checkup on the project roadmap for the design guide, as well as look at some open pull requests or stuff like that that might need some love. So yeah, guess if I go back to the design guide roadmap here, one thing that I was working on was adding content about guiding user towards Lightning, and I've got a pull request open for that. And Christoph left me some feedback on that. So I am in the middle of addressing that right now, and I should have a new updated Figma file posted in that PR today that we can discuss, and I think we can get this one merged this week. And we have, so.
I need to do a review of that, so I can do that tomorrow. I looked at it when it first kind of went up, and it looked pretty good to me. So
yeah, maybe just wait until I post my edits.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll do.
And then we have this one here that Gashni's been working on. And I think this one this one has an open pull request, and this is one of those ones that needs a little bit of love. So I started chipping in and helping with this one as well, and I think we're ready for some more reviews on this one.
Definitely, for sure, yeah. And you couldn't review because you basically started to chip in on this one.
Yeah, it's like I felt like I should get two other people to look at it since I'm now working on this one. So yeah, gosh, if you could take a look at this when you have time, that would be great. And then when Christoph is back, he could take a look at it as well.
Yeah, cool. All right, sounds good to me.
We tried to address, I think you and Christoph left a lot of feedback, and we went through and tried to address a lot of that, added some new graphics, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it since the graphics came up, so yeah, I'll give them a review, check them out.
Appreciate it, thank you.
What's going on with provide guidance on delayed payments? Okay, had a fair bit of discussion. This is all ringing a bell. So it looks like there's not even a pull request for this issue open right now. It looks like this is just us discussing all the different implications of delayed payments.
Yeah, it's kind of been a discussion phase. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's been any work towards actually putting it in the guide, but assuming Christoph was going to put something on the sending page at some point.
Well, we are. Let's see. I guess we'll have to get to the sending page at some point in the DSW milestone, so maybe we can cover it then.
I think Christoph actually already addressed the issue in the DSW milestone, Daily Spending Wallet, DSW. He did some revision. We're going to have to come back when we update the images, because I think that we have some updates coming related to the images, like when we do that big prototype that we've been planning on working on. So probably have to double back then, and I guess we could add it in then. Probably wouldn't be a whole lot of content really, it'd be pretty small.
Okay, we have this Glossary Node edition that you made. Hey, I'm sorry, I've been the one holding up this issue multiple times because I've been nitpicking the images.
Yeah, it's my bad. I needed to get some better pictures done. I've just been a bit slack with that. I haven't been prioritizing it super highly. I've been focused on some other stuff. But yeah, I'll get that done this week.
Okay.
Makes sense.
But just so my feedback about the arrows made sense. I said, did my feedback about the arrows make sense?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you then. Yeah, no, it definitely made sense. Like, yeah,
Okay.
it's not super clear. I'll think of something else and
Okay.
yeah,
I left the Figma file with some ideas in the link. So if you want to steal one of those, go for it.
Yeah, cool.
Have something else in mind that sounds good too.
Yeah, I might just do that rather than hold it up and sit around scratching my head thinking of something new.
Let's see. So
Sorry,
I think
Steve.
that's yeah.
Can you send the link to this milestone page on GitHub?
So I think you broke up a little bit at the beginning of that. What was that?
Yeah. Could you send the link to this GitHub page with all the milestones on it, please? Just just
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, and I'll also show you. I'll actually backtrack and show you how to find it. It's a little tricky. It's a little bit hidden.
All right.
So if you go to
yeah, it's in a weird spot.
So it's kind of like a beta feature right now with GitHub, as I understand. But basically, if you go to the main Bitcoin Design Community Organization page, and then you have to go here to, so like if you were like on the guide, right, you basically just backtrack to the main organization. So you're on the main org page, you look at projects.
Okay.
We have one, design guide roadmap.
Okay, got it. Projects roadmap. Yep. Okay, thank you.
I guess projects have to be scoped to an organization and not a repository or something. So that's why it's there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can access the milestones in the GitHub design guide repo as well, but it doesn't have this view. It's just viewed a bit differently. But
okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want to try something. I was gonna see if I can search for it. GitHub is this cool new command palette feature on Mac. You can hit Command K and it'll pull up this like really nice command palette, and it like lets you like, I don't know, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah, right. It's nice.
So anyways, that sounds like that about covers milestone 13. So 16, daily spending wallet. Yeah, my next task is the backup and recovery section. Yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit behind on that. I was just at a conference last week, so I should be able to get a draft up for that this week, though.
Yeah, same with me for the requesting page. Like I've pretty much got all the content done. It's just like just in a Figma file, though. Just need to kind of organize it and open the PR and maybe have to tweak some images, but probably nothing major. I'll probably get around to the images when we do the prototype, like I mentioned before.
With regards to the daily spending wallet prototype, is there anything I can do to be of help over there? Or
well, I would say the best way is to probably look at the giant Figma file we have that has like all of the notes and feedback and debate and stuff on it.
Yeah.
I think kind of where we landed on the last call was that, basically we're going through and kind of making refinements to each one of these pages here. And then at the end, we're going to try and consolidate that into a single prototype.
Okay.
And I think where we landed in the last discussion 2 weeks ago is that we wanted to try and make sure that we did this prototype, like basically do this prototype after, going through doing all the nitpicky updates in these pages. So if you wanted to try tackling one of these pages like privacy or security, welcome to do that. I would say just for context, look at the large Figma document, which would be, let me see if we have it close at hand.
I've got it bookmarked on my Figma here. I can send it if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could put that in the chat, so I don't have to go digging for it right now. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of conversation, and well, this one doesn't have as much conversation, but let's see. But basically, just look at what's being discussed in the Figma document and kind of look at the long, drawn-out conversations there. So yeah, if you want to contribute to either one of those, feel free
So
to
it's
do so.
basically, it's like you kind of have to look at the Figma document, read the discussion on GitHub, and then like revise the page basically.
Yeah, and probably revise some of the UI. There may be some revisions to the UIs as well.
I guess I can give it a shot. I've never done something like that before, but you know, I can give it a shot. You know.
And I'll go ahead and say it's a messy one. I'm not sure that even we know exactly what we're doing on it yet.
I like that you say that. That's good humility. Thank you. I'll give happy to give one page a shot, you know, privacy page, community page, whoever has a preference. Yeah, I don't have a particular preference, so.
I'd say just jump in whatever one feels right to you when you read it.
All right, cool. So I just go on GitHub and then I just have to click on the privacy page and then go to the page itself. And this is the wallet privacy page.
Yeah, exactly. So if you click on the actual issue, it should be linked right here.
I'm happy to try the privacy one. Somehow privacy interests me a little bit more.
Okay.
Has we got the first use? That might be a bit more up your alley, I reckon, Mo. I know Christoph signed himself, but I know you've been working with Blix, so like you've been doing all that kind of focus there. Because I know the privacy and the security page, they kind of need big lifts because at the moment they're
quite complex,
frames and stuff like that. But
I like your suggestion, Bosch.
Yeah, I just thought we were working with Blix, it makes sense, you know, like you're thinking about that kind of stuff. So
and it's also just to ease my way into the technical side of things. So would I have to just maybe ping Christoph and ask him how he feels about that?
Yeah, just pop him a message. I don't think he's started on much from what I know so far, so I'm sure he'd be cool. But yeah, that's just a suggestion. You're more than welcome to do the privacy or security. I just thought that would be up your alley.
Thank you. Yep.
Awesome. Welcome, Pablo. Nice to see you join the call at some point.
Hey guys, just listening in and some stuff. Keep up your great work.
Hey, Pablo.
Funding
so,
page. I'm gonna kind of do that next week. So I'm gonna try to get the requesting page done this week. Funding page next week. I've got a lot of the copy kind of written up in Figma for both of those already. So just kind of organizing and then I'm happy to take on either privacy or security once I do them, whichever's not been assigned by that point. So.
Okay. Awesome.
Kind of would, I like the privacy one actually. I've been doing a lot of stuff with privacy lately, so it'd be fun. But maybe we do talk about that at the next jam session.
Oh yeah, unrelated to the guide, but one other BGC++ hackathon project to check out was Paul and Tony Giorgio's PLN, Private Lightning Wallet, and it's got a fair amount of restrictions on it, so it's a very, very privacy-focused wallet, but it was an interesting design exploration they did for a super privacy-focused Lightning wallet. Just mentioning that before I forget. So I feel...
Yeah.
So with milestone number 16, I'm not sure if there's too much else to discuss on that one. I know we kind of discussed these issues at length on other calls. So does anybody else have any comments or questions on milestone 16, or should we move on to some open pull requests?
Nope.
No, sounds good to me. Good if we could get that whole milestone done by, I don't know, in the next month. Like I think the individual pages won't take that long, and doing the prototype and making sure that all works and matches up with the guide will be a bit of a lift. But yeah, that'd be good to get that done in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so we have, let's see, Paulo is going to add State of Lightning Arcane Research. I actually haven't looked at this document. I see you requested some changes on there. one thing that I thought was interesting about this this document was that you have to like log into their website to see the document, and I wasn't sure how we felt about that. Just like the fact that I don't know, I guess they want you to make some kind of account to be able to look at it. And I don't know. I was in a rush, and I just didn't feel like signing up for an account for it. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. It just seemed kind of strange that we're sending some people places, someplace where they have to get a document. But is the document itself good? Has anyone read it?
Yeah, I've read it. It's really good. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably one of the best ones on the list, I'd say. But we
Okay.
could always download the PDF and host it on the site, and download it directly from the site. But I don't know how people feel about that as well. That downloading random PDFs can be not the best security practice. But,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like copyrighted material or anything either. But I mean, I guess I just don't know if like once you sign up to their website, like a lot of times when people like, it's like I forget the term for it in UX. It's like an email gate or whatever, when like you want like, oh, check out our free white paper, but you have to type in your email to read it, and then of course they're getting you on a mailing list, and like a sales rep's going to call you. So like when I saw that I had to log in, I was just kind of like alarms were going off. I was like, I'm typing my email here, and they're gonna like put me on some kind of marketing list or something.
Yeah, they do actually, because I remember I signed up for last year, the volume 1, and I reckon since then they've sent me heaps of emails. Like, they're not that bad, but they do lots of other research and blockchains and shitcoins and stuff like that. So I've got a bit of that crap in my mailbox the last year or so, but yeah, it's a bit annoying.
Yeah, so I'll let this one just sit open for a little bit, just to get some feedback from other people, just so we can get some opinions on whether or not that's good or bad.
All right.
I'm a little more partial to the idea of like we shouldn't link to documents that require people to kind of like give up information like that. It seems kind of counter to some of the other stuff we're doing, like not having analytics and stuff on the website.
Yeah.
So I'm just mainly trying to be consistent there
Sense.
with what we've already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
We'll I'll let that sit for a little bit and get some more discussion going on there. So you had added a sitemap here to Jekyll, which is cool. I've been doing some reading. I don't really know that. I don't think that the sitemap is like nearly as important nowadays as it used to be. Like, I don't think it actually provides an SEO benefit anymore. But having said that, I mean, if it doesn't, I don't know that actually means that it harms the site. So I don't know if there would be any harm to having a sitemap there.
I read some of that somewhere. It's definitely not as useful as I guess it used to be with crawlers, but I guess it has some very marginal benefits. Eventually, it was going to make a sitemap page, which isn't like an XML document. It would be like a page that just kind of lists all the sites, which is just useful for like accessibility, and some people like navigating websites in that manner as well. But I'll get
So
around to that later.
That would be like the user-facing sitemap, I guess.
Yeah, so it's just like a user-facing version of that generated sitemap. But
gotcha.
It also creates one of those robot TXT files too, which is supposed to help with SEO somehow, help crawlers index your site. But I just did it because I ran some tests on the website with some SEO tools, and I was like, yeah, just get a sitemap. And I did a few other things as well. And yeah, there's a few little minor tweaks we can do here and there, but we're pretty good. Like, I find we're pretty high on search results when you type Bitcoin design and stuff like that. So
yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with our search results, because sometimes I'm searching for information and we pop up in the search results, and I'm like, well, I love that we're popping up in the search results, but I hate it because I was searching for new information that I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, it's too good then, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but it's
I need to get around to setting up the Goalia as well. It shouldn't be too complicated, but we just got to do like a new UI for the search results and a new UI for the search button. But like hooking up a Goalia is really easy. Just pretty much add like a key to the website, connects up. But Yeah, it's just mostly doing the UI changes, some CSS and stuff.
And so this is like a third-party service that does indexing?
Yeah, it's really good for like sites like ours. I talked to Christoph quite a few times about it over the last year, but just never really got around to doing it. But it just give us like a really advanced search. Like this is like inter-site search. I mean, and just make it a lot easier to like find content in the guide, because our search at the moment's a little bit not that detailed.
Yeah. No, I would love the bigger search. Yeah, I'd like to research them a little bit. I really want some better search. I guess any service that's like free is just one of those like things I'm a little like suspect about. But I mean, so I'd be curious to learn exactly like what the trade-offs are, or like what their pricing model, like if they do a paid plan, or so I'd like to read. I'd like to read about it. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I'll get an issue up about Agolia on the repo, and we can have that as a place to like discuss and talk about things. But it looks pretty good. Like it's heavily used by a large amount of like open source, like big open source projects, like React Native and all that use it in their docs, and Facebook uses it in their Dockosaurus static site generating stuff. So I presume it's pretty legit on that side of things. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely some concern there, I guess, when we look into a little bit. I'm just looking at their website and how they actually make money pricing. Here you go.
I just realized that I didn't do the notes. So hold on one second. So Bitcoin design guide, jam number 27. Now I got to find the Christoph font. Oh boy, it's caveat, right?
So with the free version, you get.
This is interesting. Okay. Calls it the Christoph font. Nice.
It's the Christoph font. It's the font Christoph always uses. Sorry, you're sick.
This is funny. Sorry, just.
I'll fill this in with some more detail later, unless somebody else wants to take over. All right, cool. Can make this prettier later. I will share this in the chat if anyone feels like adding anything to it.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see. This one also might be up your alley. No, this was the accessibility text color contrast fix. So kind of after you and Christoph's accessibility push, I realized a lot of the text and links on the sites were being flagged by Arc, the tool I was using.
Yeah.
So I opened an issue for it, and then subsequently opened a PR for it.
Okay.
And we talked about this a little bit last time. I wasn't trying to necessarily get the PR merged. I just wanted to create it so that we would have a deploy preview and could all just look at it.
Yeah.
And basically the result is, I guess I didn't link to the deploy preview, but you can get to it from down here. So we had a hearty discussion in there about it, but one thing, I mean, the difference is very subtle, but like all this text I made black.
Yeah.
And then I made the button text black, and I made the links a little bit darker. So this is like an example. If we wanted to meet WCAG AA,
yeah,
this is what we'd have to do. So we had Christoph brought up the idea of ACPA, APCA, APCA. And this is supposed to be like a new color contrast methodology that's kind of still in development. So anyways, this person named Mendex chimed into the conversation. And, you know, Mendex is saying that, like, you know, prefers, apparently Mendex, I guess, is working on the APCA project. So I guess I take their opinion a little bit seriously because it seems like they're very heavily involved in all of that W3 accessibility stuff. But they're saying that, what is it? They said that prefers high contrast is okay, but WCAG2 is supposed to be the baseline, and the prefers contrast is like an even higher like level of contrast than that. So Mendex is recommending that we do try to meet WCAG AA, and that, because I think, if I'm understanding everyone's point of view right, I think Christoph is saying that, like, now that we have this prefers reduced contrast mode, could we get away with certain things on the main website under the idea that people who need higher contrast can use prefers reduced contrast? I think Mendex is saying, no, you know, you should meet WCAG AA because it's like a standard baseline that meets needs for a lot of people, and the prefers reduced contrast is even higher. But
I was actually discussing this with Christoph.
Yeah,
we had a very random call about it, and with regards to his comment here, it says, you know, the WCAG3 and then the new contrast method called APCA. I was just wondering, that tool that you use, do you know which contrast method it's based on? Is it the WCAG one or the APCA one?
Which one is what based on?
Oh, sorry, the plugin that you use to assess the Bitcoin design page.
WCAG AA, I believe.
Ah, right. I'd be interested to know if there's a tool, if there's an accessibility and analytical tool that's based on the APCA method, and see what that's
about. Yeah, I would love to see that if there is. I think the problem is that I think the spec is still under development, and so I don't know that there's anyone that, like, just you know, I don't know if there's like a built-in browser one yet for it because it's still kind of under development. But let's see, somebody posted a link somewhere. It might have been in the issue, but somebody posted a link to like a really nice like color contrast checker.
Yeah.
And you could actually, like, you know, it was like a little website where you could, let's see. I'll have to find it, but somebody had a link where you could actually start experimenting with Arctica. It's just, I don't think that there's anyone that's like built into the browser, but I guess what I was building up to is that, you know, Christoph was suggesting we, you know, do a couple of different design treatments in Figma and discuss them there and then make a decision.
I'd love to join in on those because I definitely want to learn about, you know, more about contrast in with regards to accessibility. It's a very, the topic seems very specific with so many rules and, you know, ratios and that kind of thing. So I'm interested in how it actually looks to be UI pleasant as well on the eyes. You know, I'm very curious about that. I think that it feels almost like the accessibility rules meet UI, you know, something on the UI side that looks beautiful. I think that that's something interesting.
So I'll assign both of us to the issue here that spawned this pull request.
Thank you.
My kind of thinking is that I think we should, like, because Arctica is an experimental standard, and WCAG3 is an experimental standard, we should be looking in that direction. We should be looking to the future about, you know, what this stuff is going to be like in a couple of years, but also we have to recognize that it's kind of a moving target, and we already have an existing fixed standard right now, which is
Yeah,
WCAG 2. So I think it would be worth it if we did a Figma design for WCAG 2, but also APCA. So like
100% agree with you.
yeah.
100%. And there was another interesting point that Christoph said was he said that, you know, the screens, the quality of the screens, laptop screens and desktops now have increased their, you know, quality so tremendously over the years. And, you know, yeah, whether that's actually brought into consideration with regards to the contrast rules that were created many, many years ago. So it's an interesting topic. Accessibility rules for contrast, I meant to say. Yeah, happy to jump on a call with you and look through that together.
Oh, and I still need to get that. Remind me, I need to get that screenshots of that app you were looking for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. I also completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. It's on the to-do list.
Good. At least one of us remembered.
Oh, payment request format page. I'm surprised this one's still open.
I just need to remove those disclaimers from the photos, and I think it's done. I just need to get around to that. I think everything else is fine.
Cool. All right. We'll talk about that. Glossary. That was a spicy conversation, adding signers to Glossary.
Yeah.
And then we have initial merchant section commit, which I think we can probably close this one, but because I think that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of getting the like research, you know, ready to go. So yeah. Yeah, so I think that covers most of the open PRs right there. So why don't we just open it up for a little bit? What do people want to talk about? What ideas do we have?
What's the go with the merchant section of the guide? How's that been progressing? I haven't been following it super closely, but is there any updates?
Yeah, no, not yet. I want to get a meeting on the calendar for that, and I want to because I think Millie's been doing some work with the Gloy team on some kind of point of sale type stuff for them. I think it's really cool, and I believe there's going to be a call tomorrow for that one to look over that, kind of a Gloy design review call. So I want to try and get a merchants call put together soon, and I kind of just feel like it should just be like more of a community forum type deal. I think we need to kind of, you know, we've got this Google document where people have been jotting down ideas about what needs to go in there, and I think we need to kind of just get like a call together for anyone who's interested in that. Could be, you know, designers like Millie working with Galoy. Could be companies like Galoy who are, you know, actively building these kind of stuff. Communities like the Bitcoin Jungle on Costa Rica. You know, people like Patricia doing the research and all that kind of stuff. And just go ahead and look at that document and slash out some things that don't need to be there, highlight the things that do need to be there, and then get started. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. It sounds like a good start. Yeah, let me know when the call starts. I'll hop on if I'm awake. It's at a convenient time, but yeah, sounds good to me. I was going to do a bit of a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, just something else I wanted to contribute to the guide soon was I wanted to do like a bit of like a UX audit case study, like small kind of thing. Like it would be nothing elaborate. But I was maybe going to do it with Albi. I was going to pick a product, but I'm going to go with Albi and just do a big walkthrough and like create a small little like I guess presentation in Figma that kind of just outlines a bunch of things, makes a bunch of UX recommendations, and heavily use the content in the guide. And on second thoughts, I was saying that I should probably do a daily spending wallet rather than Albi, and use the daily spending wallet reference design and like apply it to a wallet and do a bit of a minor case study. And I was thinking we could like that could be a starting point for that case study section, which we no longer have, but we've been planning to kind of get back into the guide. But
Really
that's just
like
something
that idea.
I haven't really done a whole lot regarding that, but just been making some kind of plans. And yeah, just be something. And it'd be a way that we could showcase people like how I guess you could look at recommending content, and it shows the content being applied to a product, and could even do like a before and after, like if they wanted to like implement some of the changes, you could do the case study and then they could implement suggestions and go through that whole workflow of integrating the guide's content into a product and make that like easier for other people who want to like do the same thing. Maybe, I don't know, this is up in the air a little bit at the moment how I'm going to go about it, but that's kind of the general gist.
I really like your idea, Bosch.
Yeah, it should be. I think it's something we need in a guide, like some applying the content to things. I think now that we've got a pretty fleshed out reference design for the daily spending wallet, we really should start doing more in terms of having people recommend the content or put the content into their products, because it's not a whole lot of use. It's just kind of sitting there, not being used. And the rate at which things get outdated is, really fast in Bitcoin. So it'd be good to like go, try to get people keeping up to date with the newest UX kind of changes. But it's a bit of a chicken before the egg problem, I find, with the daily spending wallet part, because I don't know if we're like really there at that point where daily spending wallets for Lightning are like used that much. So it's like they're not like a big commercial marketed heavily used product, so like they're going to be so like heavily subjected to change. But yeah, it's a one. But yeah, I'll get around to that. I'll keep you guys updated.
Good one.
Hey guys, this is HAC Heavily Armed Clown in the GitHub, or not in the GitHub, sorry, in the Slack. I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about a project that I've been working on, because I've been thinking a lot. Because first of all, I'm not a designer, so I've been making use of all of the Bitcoin design or Bitcoin UI kit assets, which are really awesome.
Cool, nice. Welcome.
Thank you. The project I've been working on focuses a lot on multi-sig and time-locked transactions. So I've had to do some thinking on the UX flow for that. And I would love to know like how I can contribute some of those designs that I've worked on back into the project, like when it comes to spending from a multi-sig or communicating to a user, kind of how like time decay, spending early from a time-locked setup, or like kind of communicating to them, upfront, a full understanding of what time-locked Bitcoin actually means and what the implications are. So I've created screens for a lot of those things. But like I said, I'm not a designer, so I don't really want to just open a PR with those things in them and bog people down. I don't really know the best way to go about getting those things, if they're useful, back to the project.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad you've been finding the UI kit helpful. It's cool to see people actually going and trying to build products with them. So kind of the way that the guide is organized at the moment is, we have this kind of stuff here, like this kind of introductory material, this kind of tech primer, kind of going into the philosophy of, designing Bitcoin products and kind of some of the, unique details, details that are unique to Bitcoin. But then, we kind of drill into these reference designs here, which is where we go really in depth for like a specific use case. So the one we keep talking about here is obviously the daily spending wallet. And it's supposed to be like, okay, this section here, will teach you everything need to know about building like a complete daily spending wallet, right? And then we have these other ones here: savings wallet, upgradable wallet, shared wallet. that aren't nearly as detailed, but could be. You know, I think we had talked about the idea of kind of merging, you know, savings and upgradable, but you know, this would be kind of like an idea of like you know, a workflow for a multi-sig wallet. So if you're talking about building something that's like a wallet that has time locks, you know, that sounds like a very like kind of security conscious, you know, wallet to me. You know, perhaps that could be a reference design here. I don't know I don't have a fun, clever name for that off the top of my head, but seems like, yeah, there could be a reference design for that sort of thing there. And it could kind of go into the detail about, you know, the design decisions that are necessary for that. So maybe, you know, a starting point would be to maybe look at some of this stuff like savings, upgradable, shared, figure out how your project differs from those, and then you know, maybe open an issue for a reference design for this type of wallet, and then we can discuss it from there.
Okay, so opening an issue would be the best place to start. I've got a Figma with probably like close to 100 screens on it already for this project. So it's kind of a matter of like, if can I share my screen real quick? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
I've actually got your Figma up. I've just been meaning to get around to looking through it all. I just yeah, I haven't got to that yet, but I wanted to have actually a good look over your time.
I'll show you guys so one of the things about multi-sig, right, is that it's kind of cumbersome to spend. Like if you gotta say you've got to like pay your lawn care guy and buy some groceries and donate money to your favorite podcaster, you don't want to have to go in and sign all three of those transactions in 3 different occasions. So I've been thinking through a way to batch the UX where whenever you're on the send screen, you can just add another recipient, and it's basically just batching the outputs. And what the user sees is like iterable transactions when they're actually going to sign, where they can step through each of the outputs that they've made and approve them one by one, or just like click all of them. And then once they've signed it with all of the keys to meet their spending threshold, they get to review those outputs one by one by iterating through them again. And then they can just broadcast that all as one big transaction. This was something that Christoph actually helped me think through here.
Yeah. So I guess the idea is that it's hard to find, you know, like you want to store your hardware wallet securely. So if you have to pull, you know, secure and unsecure your hardware wallet every single time you make a transaction, it just becomes a pain. So you'd want to like basically batch a bunch of PSBTs and then sign them all at once. Am I kind of understanding that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that's like the main thing, I guess, that I'm thinking would probably be useful to contribute is the multi-sig side, because I didn't see too much in the design guide really about that yet. So I thought that'd be kind of a cool thing. And then like I guess the other thing that would be useful is this product that I'm working on. It kind of has like a medium security area, which is like a 2 of 7, and a high security area, which is like a 5 of 7 with a time lock. So I'm constantly thinking through like, okay, how do I communicate that time lock to the user? Not just in terms of like where they see it on a regular basis in the UI, but also making it abundantly clear to them when they go into the wallet. Like say if they were to go and try to send funds, they were to go and try to send funds to the account, like when they click on the receive tab, you want to make sure you give them a warning to make it totally clear, like, hey, if you send money to this account, you're not gonna be able to get it out for a year and 300 days or whatever. And then ask for a little buy-in on the user, like, yes, I understand these terms, and then that'll let them actually send money to the account, so that you don't end up in a situation where the user time locks Bitcoin, they didn't understand the implications.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I would say this, I mean, I feel like a lot of this content would be like kind of good for the like the savings wallet section. You know, we because that's pretty much what that is. It's a 2 of 3, multi-sig wallet. It's a little bit different though, because that one is, I guess it doesn't have to be 2 of 3, but like when we showed it in the designs, we it's pretty clear that it's a 2 of 3. And it kind of, shows it more from a mobile interface, where it sounds like you're talking about something like a little more extreme than that. You're talking about like 3 of 5 and 5 of 7. Is that right?
So the way that this project's going to work, it's kind of technically complex, like at a high level, but it's not going to be complex for the user at all. But it's basically going to be 7 keys that are going to pertain to both a 2 of 7 and a 5 of 7. So you only need it's 7 of the exact same keys, but you need 2 of them to access the medium security area and 5 of them to access the high security area.
Oh, I get it. So there's like some funds that are that can be spent with fewer amount of keys, and then other amounts of funds that require more keys, more
Correct.
signatures.
Yeah, but they're all the same keys. Like, so that way you're not splitting up your mental resources across a bunch of different wallets. And then ideally, what I think I'm going to do is just do like a 1 of 7 too, so that you can just like throw 1 in there and use that as like a spending wallet. But that's like V2, I think.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would say just like open an issue for adding, updating, the savings wallet, or adding a new multi-sig reference design to the wallet. I'll go ahead and say this is really great, fantastic work you're doing here. I think I haven't seen anything specifically like it before, so I'm trying to think about how to kind of generalize it a little bit. But I think that it's absolutely worth having a discussion about, adding more multi-sig content to the guide. So yeah, I would say just open an issue for it. Let's take it from there.
Cool. I'll do that.
Yeah, sounds good to me as well. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, yeah, definitely content would be relevant for the savings wallet reference design, which we've been meaning to get around to, and making a bit more full-fledged, like the daily spending, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, it definitely be some good content for that reference.
And I think it's great work what you're doing, trying to simplify something on the UI side that is otherwise very complex. I think the product development process in the Bitcoin industry can only learn more from that. So yeah, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just love to be able to get something that I've done, back into this project, because this project helped me so much. So
absolutely, very nice.
All right, well, we are coming up on the hour here. Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up today's jam sesh?
Nothing from my side.
I wanted to run a random idea by you guys, see what you think, but I don't know, I feel like it might be one of those blasphemous ones, so I haven't really brought it up.
Gosh, is full of ideas today. Great.
I've been thinking of like making I was just talking to a friend of mine. I was going to maybe make like a Bitcoin forum. I know there's Bitcoin Talk, and I've used Bitcoin Talk for like years, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just really outdated, and I think it's real esoteric, and there's a lot of real more modern kind of forum and bulletin board based kind of features that Bitcoin Talk doesn't have, because Bitcoin Talk uses a forum engine that's like from the early 2000s. It's just very outdated and doesn't have very nice features.
PHPBB?
Nah, Simple Machine Forum, I think they use.
Oh, wow.
So it's like 2002 or something. It's like really old. Yeah, Simple Machines Forum. But I've just been doing some research and looking at all these different kind of forums, kind of softwares, and I really like what's it called? Falarum. It's a weird name, Flarum. I've been looking at them quite a bit. I've been thinking about just making like a little Bitcoin forum that people could use, and it'd obviously just be a Bitcoin only forum, and it's a place for discussions, and you can obviously have like sections for technical discussions, sections for design or whatever, but like you kind of get the gist, like just a general kind of forum. But I was thinking about getting it up, but I thought I'd probably get a lot of backlash because people, all the OGs would probably be like, just use Bitcoin Talk. But I was like, oh no, it's not like Bitcoin Talk. It's just very old, and there's a bit of contention around Bitcoin Talk too. So I've been diving into all the old forum posts. So I was supposed to update the software back in like 2017 to I think Epoch Talk. It's like a new open source forum framework,
Mhm.
and I think Famos raised quite a large amount of Bitcoin to do the migration over to this new forum, which would probably be worth like over upwards of $100 million in US terms today. So pretty crazy amount of money, and nothing's kind of happened since 2017, and there's quite a lot of people who seem kind of pissed off about it. And that's not the main reason I'm doing this. Like, I got no issue with Famos and stuff like that, but like that, I was kind of hoping that was going to happen with Bitcoin Talk, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I was like, maybe just make something, but obviously getting a traction behind a forum and building that social kind of traction is pretty hard. But I don't know, what do you guys think of doing something like that? Like, you're more than welcome to come join me and do it if you want. It's not super hard. It'd probably be more of a marketing, adding content kind of thing to get it off the ground. It wouldn't be a lot of like technical work, but I would want to do some technical stuff as well. Like, would it be really cool to integrate it with like WebLN? People could just sign in with WebLN, or maybe eventually like slash tags, like what John's working on, and synonym, and have that as an option. Just obviously kind of lean into the Bitcoin side of things a bit more. But yeah, what do you guys think about doing something like that?
I mean, I don't see why it has to be that blasphemous, because like I mean, people make websites and communities and forums and stuff all the time. So I think that it's just a matter of you put it up there and people will decide where they want to discuss things.
Yeah, I agree. That's the kind of the main reason they're going to do it, I guess. But I don't know, I just think people would be like, we got Bitcoin Talk, and they'd be like, screw that, just rag it out. So I was like, I don't know, like, more from just like a social point of view. I just didn't want to get some unnecessary backlash, I guess. But not bad backlash, like it's not a bad thing having another place, but yeah, I just find like there's not like I grew up on like forums and internet bulletin boards and stuff like that, and I just really kind of miss that community aspect of it. I think Twitter does a decent job, but it's still a little bit disconnected. And then there's like all these other really like useful content sites that I kind of keep track of. Like I read Optech, like all the mailing lists. You got Twitter, you got a bunch of other like mailing lists I also subscribe to, and newsletters. And I was like, I just want a place to just have like all of this stuff that I could kind of just hop on this one site and kind of browse through, and all the kind of relevant signals getting posted there. And like you have like a lot of like communities on like Telegram and Discord and like Slack and stuff like that, but I find like the instant messenger communities is a way higher proportion of noise to signal, especially on like Telegram and stuff like that. So they're just kind of unusable to use, especially if you're like time constrained and you don't really want to just siphon through hundreds of unread messages every day. So
yeah, it's a different feel. The chat messages, it's hard to keep track of like threads and topics and stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I just miss forums. Like I feel like I learned a lot. Like I learned heaps on Bitcoin Talk when I first got into Bitcoin, just sitting there reading all the old posts and stuff like that. Like it's a lot of signal.
Bosh, I fully agree with you, because in a really practical sense, there was about 2 years ago, I was trying to learn how to use a particular type of social media software, which was quite technical, and there was a forum dedicated to the software, and I learned so much from the guys. Just from jumping on the forum and asking questions and reading other people's posts. I became really proficient in a really short space of time. In 6 months, I was just on my way. But it's because, all the content was there. I could go back, I could read how other people solve the same problem.
I find it.
More about it. So.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. If I get around to doing it, I'll probably make a post and write a blog post that kind of details why I want to do it, try to like push it around a bit, but I'd probably populate it with a reasonable amount of content before I made it live, so it wasn't just like an empty shell. But I don't know, that's a little side project related to the guide. But also, it's Arctica on Bitcoin Design. There's a channel for HAC's project. Stephen, I'll send you a message and
Gotcha.
get you.
Yeah, I'm in that channel. I was just going to put a Figma link directly in the notes here, but cool. All right. Well, yeah, it sounds like a cool project. I'm personally too busy to contribute to that, but that sounds like a really cool project to work on. Say, get it launched, and yeah, see if people like it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for posting the Figma link, HAC. I'll put that in the notes.
Yeah, thanks very much.
You guys got
So awesome.
MK4 yet? The gold cards, by any chance?
Haven't heard of them?
The new cold card hardware wallets, the the NFC capability. I just got mine in the mail today. I was going to play around with it tonight a little bit, but talking about hardware wallets, like what you're doing, HAC, I don't know if there's a mobile component to it, but it would be really cool to have a multi-sig wallet that was on mobile in some capacity that you could use like this wallet on, because I don't think there's any that I could really test it on at the moment. That would be awesome.
Yeah, like long term, I would like to support hardware wallets as signing devices, but the way that I'm doing this project is you're going to have 7, each key is going to be on an SD card, and the SD card is going to have, it's like its own self-contained instance of Ubuntu. So you're basically going to be able to stick the SD card into any machine and boot. It'll automatically boot from the OS on the SD card when you restart the machine to kind of give you like a secure signing environment on any machine. So it's difficult. So like it's a lot easier if we can make the assumption that we can always operate on Linux, but it starts to get a lot more complex when I start trying to add in like hardware wallets and mobile devices. But like we definitely would love to support that once we get the MVP working.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's cool. It's an interesting design.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty sweet. I'm pretty excited about it.
What was that?
All right.
It was that old. Was it the? What was that old? Really big, complex multi-sig protocol that people used to use?
Glacier.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Is that where the name Arctica came from?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like going with the cold theme. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of, I just like, well, Arctica sounds kind of cool. I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's cool now.
All right, so we're about 5 after, so I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here, but everyone can feel free to hang out if you still want to chat, and we'll have another jam session in about 2 weeks here.
Cool. Sounds good to me.